Well, welcome back. I know I've been away for a bit of a while, but yeah, I've had a few family things go off and that I'm not going to go into detail about. But like I put a little community tab up saying due to a few family things going on that I won't be doing that live that weekend. And then people said, why didn't you do next Saturday after? I thought I'll just leave it as a fortnightly, but hopefully, fingers crossed, this might even be a bit of a longer show than an hour and a half, depending on what people want to talk about or whatever. We do have a guest in the backstage that I've been speaking to for a little bit, but I'll bring up a few of the comments and then I'll bring him on, and then we'll jump right into the conversations that hopefully are relevant for tonight's show. So we've got an evening from Amanda Smith. Good evening, all. My boy's Coy. Good evening, John Coe. Scrags. Evening, all. Evening, Simon. Evening, Seska. Will's Coy. Family comes first, bud. They certainly do. Oh, I was like that. That's not going to work, is it? Yes, they certainly do, bud. Evening, DT, and everyone watching the show. Good evening. Right, without further ado, that's just a quick few of the comments coming up. I'll bring on the first guest. Well, hello there, Jamie.
Evening all. How are you all doing?
Not doing too bad yourself?
Yeah, not too bad, but not too bad at all.
I says to you earlier, you can't get a better live view than that of your fish, can you? Oh, look, now he's messing about with camera now. Oh, see, it always happens on my show, doesn't it? He's gone and messed about with his camera, hasn't he? And every time he messes about with the camera, that's when you've got a problem. So when you start messing about with you know this. So yeah, have you been up to much this week then?
No, not really. Obviously we had the show last weekend, which was absolutely fantastic. Had a best show I've been to. Really enjoyed it. Ain't done a lot on the pond this week, so I've only just got the roof rack sorted on my van. So I'm now able to get the rest of the pond finished. The floor's now screeded. I think that video went live tonight. But yeah, the new fish that I picked up from Clearwater Koi that I ordered from Japan are all in there swimming about. There's one. Just gone down there. The other one's in the net. You won't see the other one.
But, yeah, because that's just a shot in corner, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then Scrag just says he looks smaller on camera. I think he's on about you, that he looks smaller on camera.
Probably.
Yeah. All right, it's one of them, innit? I probably look absolutely massive on mine. You what?
I'm 6'2" in real life.
Yeah. Well, I look bigger on my camera, so when people meet me, oh, I thought you were a little bit taller. No, it's just the way you know the camera does it, makes you look a lot taller.
Because you're always holding the camera sort of down here and it's looking up to your face. It makes people think you're taller.
Well, it's not wrong with that. Just like you say, with your selfie stick, just point it further up like that, so it makes you look a bit taller.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah, the first one was about the Koi show that you sort of touched upon anyway. So, what did you personally think of the show? I know you've done a video on that, and there's lots out there, but for the likes of me that unfortunately couldn't go because I, taking family on holiday. What did you think of the show, and was it better than last year's?
It was, for different reasons. I think personally, although the water quality for the showfish was better this year, there wasn't as many vats sulking or whatnot. I think last year's fish in the show was a lot higher quality than this year, although there was still some fantastic koi, and I mean fantastic koi. But last year, I think there was just a few more vats where I stood at and I was like, wow. This year, there was still a few, but I don't think there was as many wow vats as there was the year before. But in regards to people, it was 10 times busier this year than last year. And there was also a lot more vendors there this year than last year. So a lot more to see, a lot more to do, a lot more people to talk to. And in a way, I think that's partly down to us as YouTubers. whether it is or not, I can't ever be certain. But with all the people talking about the shows on all their videos, I mean, I must have, on the build up to it, I must have seen about 20 to 30 people mention they're going to the show on Saturday, they're going to the show on Sunday. And obviously, all the viewers that us YouTubers get, it just puts the word out there, which is probably why it's getting bigger and bigger and better and better.
I suppose on quite a few videos, it seems like they did a little bit something for the kids, which is, hopefully will bring the younger ones into the hobby, even if they just want to walk around. They've got that little, there were that big like red double-decker bus, weren't they, by looking at, videos and that.
Yeah, they had a little bouncy castle there as well for the kids. Obviously, poor old Kopi's boy Mason, he had a bit of a bash in the bus, because from the videos that I've seen, it wasn't really looked after by the staff very well. But yeah, I mean, they're trying at least. They need to try a little bit harder, but they are trying when it comes to the kids. But yeah, just the way koi shows are advertised, unless you're really into the hobby and you're subscribed to all the magazines and you keep up to date on all the Facebook groups and stuff, that's really the only place that the koi show is advertised. Obviously, it's not on your TVs, it's not on the news, it's not in your local papers. So it's down to us as YouTubers to help spread the word to get these shows bigger and better. And the more obviously we spread the word, the more people turn up. I mean, the amount of money they probably raked in at the show with the amount of people, it might push them to say, okay, well, next year we need to be even bigger. We need to be even better, So
hopefully next year I should be able to get to national show. Like I say, this might shock a few, but I've never actually been to a show, because 2 years ago we was going to go to a show, the national show, but unfortunately a week prior, car set on fire, so that was that one.
Oh, you need
window. But it happens sometimes. Things catch up with you, or you get the unexpected things, and you've got to plan different things to keep life rolling on. Yeah. But I think I've just got I made a little quick short clip of, right, when I can get to the right one, just 10 seconds long, to the rest of the shows and the one that's already been, just to see what other shows people might be going to this year. So I'll just quickly play that if computer plays nice. There we go. Yeah, so hopefully, I should have probably made the clip a little bit longer, but it was just something I could quickly get a hold of, because it was a bit last minute, wasn't it, Jamie, to be honest, when I just brought you on. But
at the end of the day, people can always go back and pause it if they want to read the dates and addresses and things, can't they?
Yeah, well, I'll probably play it again later. I'm hoping to get to that Newark one, because it's on the last bank holiday weekend of the year. I think it is in August, isn't it?
Yeah, I'll be going to the Newark one. I'm not too sure about the Kent one, because I've heard some stories about the Kent one this year. So
we'll leave them stories with you. So
yeah, all right, absolutely.
And then I think the other one's the mid staffs, and like I say, I can't remember which order they're in, but I know there's the mid staffs, the one in Kent, and then that one in Newark. I think they're the three that's left, but I could be wrong. But I'll play the video up a little bit later on. And then another subject that I wanted to talk about, and I've got a 35-second clip of it as well, which will allow me to go to the loo at the same time, is with drum filters. I personally don't think they should be sold the way they are sold, where they're sold as maintenance free. Whereas, like the video that my mate sent me of his, there's no filter that I'm aware of, I could be wrong, where they're actually maintenance free, where you don't have to do anything with your filter. Whereas I'm just going to play this quick video and then we could talk about it, because you've got a drum anyway, so you'll probably have the same sort of problem. This one's a Draco drum, but obviously there's different drums on the market. So I'll just quickly play this and hopefully I can be back in time. So here we go. Yeah, that I thought that were going to go full screen, so I could just quickly, but it didn't, did it? So
never mind.
No, never mind. So yeah, what I'll do is I'll bring Rocket Boy on, so then you can still talk about that. I'll drop my send down, so then I can go to the toilet. So I'll just bring Dave on. Oh God, I need to get a mouse mat for this, don't I? Here we go. I'm just going to drop myself just so I can go to the loo. So you could talk about the drum filter and what if something's happening similar to yours. I'll be back in a minute.
Oh yes. How's it going, Dave? You all right?
Yeah, all right, Jamie. Yeah, really good. Yeah, apart from a minor issue on the pond. I have one of those Y splitters, the Oazi Y splitters on the system.
Yeah.
And because one goes back to the filter and the other one goes to the air source heat pump, the one that goes to the filter, it broke. And every time I tried to top the Easy Pod up to clean, it was just draining back down. So bit of a drama in the week. But I've installed a ball valve on the main line out now as well. So that should stop all that happening.
Yeah, absolutely. I got the same Oazi Y splitter on my little vat down the back of the garden there.
Yeah.
A few years now, but yeah. Nothing worse than a handle breaking on you.
No, it just it just spins round. The insert, the ball valve inside, just spins round then, and it just drains out. But yeah, talking about drum filters, I've noticed a lot of people having trouble with crap getting stuck in their waste tube. Are you having the same problem?
Not a little bit, yeah. I mean, it's really hard to explain, but a lot of people with the type of drum I got one of the Oazi drums. A lot of people with those drums moan about the waste build up just before the drum itself, whereas I don't get that problem. I don't know whether that's because I've literally got my drum maxed out, because it says it's capable of coping between 15 to 18,000 litres an hour, and mine is literally set to 18,000 litres an hour.
Yeah,
so literally maxed out, but I do occasionally get a bit of waste build up around the waste chute, but that is out of the water, so it's not so much of a problem. My biggest problem has been for myself the fact that I've never had anywhere to put the waste, so all the waste has just come out into a bucket, and it's been over this summer, because of the amount of, as you can see, the amount of fish I've got in there now, has become a bit of a nightmare. So this week just gone, I've literally just plumbed it into my neighbour's downpipe, which is next week's video.
Well, at least we're getting a few firsts on the live show, and we've got 29 watching, so at least we're getting some bits and pieces. An evening, Rich. How we doing?
Yeah. All right, hi, Rich. Good to see you, mate.
How you doing, right?
Hey, mate.
Yeah, sorry we missed you at the show. You were up there on the Saturday, Rich, weren't you? And we all went on the Sunday.
Great day. The weather was all right, to be honest. It wasn't blistering. It was warm and dry. That's the main thing, isn't it? I did get home and I didn't realise, but I got bloody sunburnt around my neck, and but you just don't realise it, do you? And I got to be honest. Last year I went and, I wasn't doing this, but this year I was overwhelmed with the amount of people that came and spoke to me, and I think we got there about 10:30. I don't think I've seen a fish till about 3 o'clock. I was just talking to people, which is which is great, you know. And it was a bit surreal for me, to be honest, because some people were coming up and making a comment. Obviously, I ain't got a clue who they are, but yeah,
I think,
brilliant.
yeah, I think Jamie will agree with that. I mean, I was up there with Vince and a few of the others. Well, Vince and Rick from New Forest, we travelled up together, and it was sort of like 10 steps, and then somebody would stop you and want to talk to you. I'm sure you found that, Jamie, as well, didn't you?
I did. There's someone at my door, guys. I'll be back in a second.
Okay, mate.
I've got to be honest, I literally paid,
Mummy.
you know, the tent you go through where you pay,
Yeah.
turn right into the first tent, and I was having a look at some fish, and somebody come up to me, and it's like, you know, they know you because of what you're putting out there, but you don't know them. And it was a really good conversation. And yeah, it was just really surreal for me, if I'm honest.
Oh, we've got the first question of the night, which is, hi guys, do you use any special hose pipes when working with your pond, or just the box standard ones? Well, me personally, Sam, I just use the standard hose pipe you get from your garden centre. The only downside for me is I don't have an outside tap because the pond's down there, so I have to use a hose pipe from the other side of the house in the bathroom, all the way through the room, all the way out through the window, down, and then all the way to the bottom of the garden. But I just use the standard hose.
Yeah, same as that.
Me too.
There we go. Hopefully that answers your question, Sam. But hopefully you don't have to go through all the way through your house just to believe through your pond like I have to. But yeah, well, we've got 27 in. I just wanted people's thoughts and play. I was going to say that. Put a comment on the side. Is I'm thinking about doing one last event for the charity, but I wanted to see what the people that are watching thought about it. Is doing a parachute jump for the brain tumor research, and hopefully people might get on board with me, and I will do the parachute jump. But I just wanted to see what people's thoughts about it was. I could do it anyway, but I just wanted to know what people's thoughts were and whether they might back me by doing it, because I think you have to reach. I don't know if you reach a certain goal and then after that, then your parachute jumps free. I'm not 100%. I've just had a quick look into it, and I thought I'll just put it out there to everybody to see what they thought of it.
I did look at that once, but I was too heavy. Do you get a parachute?
No, you get. Go and teach with it, please.
No, she's just tandem jump, isn't it?
Back of you, that then obviously you jump out with them, and then obviously they're your guide back down. No, she's just tandem jump, isn't it? And I think one of you lot's got a telly in the background because we can hear our sends in the background. I gather it by you, Dave.
Not me.
And me outside.
That's better, isn't it?
It's not raining there then, Jamie?
No, it's been quite nice this afternoon, and we're still at 28 degrees. 28 degrees still.
Absolutely bouncing down here this afternoon.
That's what it's done. It's cooled it down here to 21 degrees. It stopped raining. It's stopped raining about last 2 hours.
That's something else, isn't it? You know, if you're looking at your pond temperatures over the last 2 weeks, they're ranging from like 25 degrees to 17. They're up and down so much at the moment. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's why I've got natural heat.
Oh God! Like I say, it's because Will's Coy and a few others, as you've probably seen in the comments, call me Pinko. I just go with the flow. It's because I wore a pink T-shirt to do the charity walk with, and I'd probably be wearing the same sort of pink shirt, depending on what happens, to do it again, just one last time, and then I would have done 3 events for charity, and hopefully then that'll be good enough for the charity, and also then hopefully my mum will be proud that I've done something totally different, something I've never ever done before, but hopefully everyone can sort of get behind it and we will see, because then we've got Paul saying, go for it. Been lashing it down here in Liverpool. And then Sam goes, what's your hose pipe setup, Jamie?
Me?
Yeah, that's what Sam says. What's your hose pipe setup for like filling your pond up and that?
I have a 10-inch jumbo 3-stage dechlorinator that my hose pipe goes into. I did set it up really nice and neatly, and it all went under the decking, round the back of the pond. You couldn't see a single thing. And then about a week after I ripped up all the decking to put the hose pipe underneath, the rats chewed through it. So back to the usual garden hose, and that's just draped around the edge of the pond at the minute. But yeah, I need to get back under the decking and sort that out. But until I finish that little pond build, my decking's, as you've probably seen by some of my videos, is absolutely full of rubbish at the minute. So that's having to wait until my little pond's built, and then I can get everything tidied back up again.
Well,
So there's another question, isn't there? You know, there's so many mixed opinions on YouTube. Some are saying they run it through, you know, an RO system. Some run it through a 3-stage system. Some don't even bother; they just do it straight from the tap. You know, what is? I guess everyone knows the right answer, but what's the harm in run it straight from the tap? No,
Well, I know for a fact, Rich, that Vince does his straight from the tap. He doesn't bother with any dechlorinators at all.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? And there's times I've got a 3-stage dechlorinator system, which I do try to do and trickle through, but it takes bloody hours and hours and hours. And at some point, I think, right, I've got to get this pond sorted, and I'll just put the hose pipe on like a spray and do it straight from the tap. I never put that on YouTube because I always feel like I'll get nailed for it.
But at the end of the day, if your fish are happy with what you're doing, then you're just showing, like we all do on YouTube, what we do with our ponds. Because I had 2 koi in my trop tank, and all I do is clean all the trop tank like I do my normal pond, and then just fill that straight up with tap water.
Yeah. I think I said it before, Dave. I have always, and don't shoot me, I have always, in the years, I don't know how many years I've had tropical fish, I have always literally taken the water out of the tropical fish tank, taken the filter out, cleaned it under a tap, put it back in, and topped it back up from a tap. And they've been, you know, the most consistent fish you'll ever have.
And then we've got another question on hose pipes. What do you guys think of the metal hose? Do you mean where it's just your outside tap bit, or you're on about a full metal hose to wherever you're going?
He might be talking about the full metal hose, because Gifster's Koi has just upgraded his hose to a full stainless steel garden hose because his dog kept chewing through it. I'll probably do the same thing with mine and run it back under me decking, and then the rats won't be able to chew through it. But I think as long as it's one of the stainless steel ones, I can't see a problem in it, to be honest. I
think the only problem you'd have is if you run copper, because you might get the copper deposit going into your pond then, and you really don't want.
All your house pipes are copper anyway, so it's coming from copper pipes, whatever you do, anyway. So I don't know.
You're right. Yeah,
I think the difference is with your copper being inside your house, it's not open to the elements where it can then turn that sort of that like a greenish color on the outside. Whereas if that's on outside your house and it's not a certain depth, or if you can put copper at a certain depth, then if you can't, there's no way of checking if it's got that corrosion, and if that water then goes to your pond, then you might have a problem with extra chemicals going in your pond that you don't realise you're putting in.
But you can never see inside the pipes anyway, and you never know what corrosion's going on inside the pipe. So to me, that's irrelevant. But bringing up water, Guess who was just knocking at my door?
Tony
Hang
Bloke, the water
Anglian
ball.
They wanted to do a water test because of a hydro has burst yesterday near my house somewhere, and they've had to throw in a shed load of chemicals to combat the bacteria and things because of hydro burst. And could they come in to take a water sample? So that's the reason I use a three-stage dechlorinator, not because hosepipe water straight out the hose could possibly kill them, but you never know what the water companies have had to throw in the water on a spontaneous moment.
Because that's Stoke Adventures, but I'm running 2 Tempests and an Easy Pod. Issue is when cleaning the pond goes down that much, it takes ages to fill up again, but it's put fill. I know what you mean, fill up again. So the question to Jamie, how much flow does he put through the 10-inch?
Well, mine's a 10-inch jumbo, so the cartridges are about that wide each. I've got 3 of them, but because I've got a drum, I don't generally have to drop my pond very often because the drum takes out about 90 to 100 litres a day. So I'm just constantly trickling water in through that to replace what the drum is taking out. So I've got a trickle-in system on mine. So it's very slow. According to Anglian Water, because they sent me a letter saying they think I've got a leak of about 1 litre per minute. So that's what I'm trickling in.
Well, with mine, when I did use my 3-stage dechlorinator, I think when I dropped about 20 to 30%, it used to take about 10 hours to fill. So that would probably work out maybe 2 litres an hour or something around there. Because the slower you got it, the more dwell time you've got with stuff coming out. So obviously you've got the pre-filter. Then maybe 2 carbons. I haven't done it for a bit because now I'm just doing it the old way. Just basically going through hosepipe straight down, straight in pond. Because if I could do it in my drop tank, why not?
If I do ever need to drop it, I will just whack the hose pipe on to fill it back up, because otherwise I'll be waiting days, because as it's filling up, the drum's taking it back down. So I will whack the hose pipe on it, but then I'll use sodium thiosulfate just to neutralise the chlorine in the water.
And then Farmer Coy, once all the internals of your pipes are corroded in calcium, it does not matter. Lead pipes were a problem, but again, when it's coated, it's not unless disturbed. Like I said, I don't really know on that one because I just use the hose pipe because it's just easier and because I don't have an outdoor tap.
Yeah.
And then I'll just get this one up before it disappears. Is any of you doing the Crafties Growing Show?
No.
Oh, it depends on funds because he's after 200 quid a fish, isn't he?
Yeah, because I think they're around the 30 cm mark. I believe he said on Gazza's Live earlier in the week. So that's that one. Hopefully that gives you an answer, Paul, because I won't be entering it because me personally, I'm not really a big fan of Kahakus. So
Do these growing shows that people keep advertising actually have any fruition? Because I've never entered one, and I probably won't, to be honest. But I've heard a lot of negative things about people entering them, but then I don't know, 6 months, 12 months later, there's no end result.
Well, with the growing show like I'm doing, or I'm only speaking for the growing show that I've entered, you get all the fish before. Obviously, you pick out on this one, you pick out your names out of a hat and then what number, so you got what order. And soon as that you pick that fish out, then that fish will then put into blue ball to be measured, pictured, or filmed, however. Right, so that's 20 cm, right? Well, that one's now your fish. When the temperature's rising, you can come and collect it, and then just keep uploading your pictures and just keeping on top of stuff. maybe like once every month or once every 6 weeks, you know, get it out. So then obviously you're still keeping on top of it and keeping the growing show going. And then in 12 months, if I remember rightly, I think the winner gets a 60 cm pan net and another gift to go with it. I think it might be koi food, but I could be wrong.
Well, I know that Jamie and I both entered the Andy Daly Adam Beyer growing show last year, and I don't know about you, Jamie. I haven't heard nothing, and I've spoken to Adam about it a couple of times now.
I spoke to Adam about it at the show. The draw, according to Adam, is going to be done in September after this year's growing. So,
Right.
We got that to come. I'm still waiting to hear back on the winner for the reefers that I joined last year as well. That draw is supposed to be done any day now. But yeah, I entered 2 last year, which was that one, the reefer and A-class growing show, and the Adam Beyer one. And as I say, I did speak to Adam, and he said September for that. And Jack has asked for all the photos in, but we're just waiting on the draw for that one. And then obviously the Eden Koi Pond and Koi Water Barn growing show we did this year. I lost the Kahaku, unfortunately, a week after I got it, but I've still got the Karashi Koi as well. But I think that might actually be drawn this year, if memory serves me correct. I don't know, I have to check with Dave. But,
Gaz,
in regards to you saying that though, Rich, whether you would ever join one or not.
Say again, sorry, Jamie.
I think it's just it was yourself that brought it up in regards to whether you would ever join one or not. And the only advice I can give you, bud, is only join one if the fish they're offering within the growing show is one you want.
Yeah, it was just, you know, that obviously these growing shows, there's multiple fish that you can choose from, depending on who's doing one. But it's just that I've heard a lot on YouTube. Again, I've never entered one, so I can't say from personal experience. I've heard a lot of not heard anything since we've bought the fish. Nothing's been said.
I've heard it myself, and it does happen by the look of it. But yeah, at the end of the day, the way I see it, I mean, my shower that occasionally swims past the window, even what I mean by it is, even if that was never come to it, I'm not going to win. I mean, it's hardly grown at all anyway. But I'm still over the moon with the shower that I've got from Adam Beyer, that it was 75 quid, and it's absolutely stunning. So what I mean is, if you want to enter one just for the sake of it, as long as it's a fish you want for your pond, does it really matter if it ever comes to anything anyway? You know,
No,
if
it
you've got a fish,
No, but you might as well go buy a fish from somewhere else. You know, and not enter a competition.
Oh, yeah.
There you go, because he said it on Gaz's Live. £200 for a koi that retails at £500 is a good deal for the breeders that they're coming from.
Yeah.
So like I say, it is for. Sorry about that. For the size of koi that you're getting, and from the breeder, like Gaz says, then they are very good value for money, because obviously they put growth on and they'll do X, Y, Z. But for me, I'm just not a big fan of Kahakus. But that's me, and obviously my pond. But when I've seen the pictures and I've seen the videos of these fish, they do look quite nice and stunning fish from a decent breeder out in Japan. But like Jamie says, I suppose it's about the community, whoever you're doing a growing show with, and people uploading videos and pictures and stuff like that. It's just all down to whether you're doing a growing show with, and people still talking amongst each other about the fish and stuff like that.
It's not only that. It's like I went to the Adam Beyer one the same time as Dave, but Dave got a Sagi, whereas I went for the shower because he had. Did you get a shower as well, Dave?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, but that wasn't involved in the growing show.
Right. Well, I didn't want an Asagi in my pond, so I didn't enter that. But the fish we picked up, it was 75 quid. And if you looked at that size fish in Adam's vats, they were 120 quid fish. So the reason to enter a growing show is to save a bit of money. But what I meant to you is only go to a growing show if it's a fish you were going to buy anyway.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, mine was on Gaz's Live, you know, when he does his
Yep.
Fish of the Week, and it was chosen as by Rick and all the rest of the guys as the best fish on that show. So
Nice.
that checked me to bits, and it's grown 10 cm in a year. So
Okay.
it's not been bad.
And then, like Koi Stock Adventure said, do you recommend a trickle in, trickle out? Well, with that, for me, I can't do a trickle in, trickle out because that. Imagine having a hose pipe running from your bathroom all the way down the window, all the way down the garden 24/7. I couldn't personally do it, but Jamie, like he says, he does a trickle in, trickle out. So have you seen any difference or benefits for using a trickle in, trickle out rather than just doing it when you do your water changes?
No, the only reason I now have to do a trickle in, trickle out is because I own a drum. If I didn't own a drum, then I wouldn't have a trickle in, trickle out, because the drum is constantly taking water out because it cleans using the pond water from the clean side. And every time it cleans, it uses about 3 to 4 litres of water per clean, and it cleans about 4 to 5 times an hour. So
Yeah.
it's taking out about 15 litres an hour. So I need to put that water back in the pond somehow. So that's why I've got a trickle in, trickle out. But yeah, if I didn't have that, I've never had one before, and that's the only reason I've got one.
So do you have an over? Because the next bit after that is with an overflow. So have you fitted an overflow in case your drum doesn't clean as often, or you just turn your trickling a little bit down a bit so it doesn't get to the point?
Yeah, no, I just tweak the hose pipe until I come out one day and it's the same level as it was when I went to bed. But if the good thing is with the type of drum I've got, if my pond does get too high, the drum itself works as a trickle out because the water comes up over the waste chute and starts trickling out the waste chute anyway. So, I can never overflow the walls of my pond because the drum overflows out of the waste chute before the pond does.
So Dave, do you do a trickle in, trickle out?
No, I'm on Easy Pods, so I don't do a trickle in, trickle out. I just rely on my twice weekly
Changes.
filter cleans to actually, because that dumps, God knows, more than 18 litres of water a time, doesn't it? And then the Tempest, of course, that's dropped 3 or 4 times a week. So that acts as a top up and a trickle in, fresh water, and no problems. Water's gin clear, fish are doing fine. So, but like Jamie said, with a drum, you do need trickle in, trickle out. Definitely.
I'll ask you the same question, Rich, but I obviously, I think I already know what answer you're going to come out with. But
No, definitely not. At the moment, with the way the rain's coming down, it's probably trickling out more than it's trickling in. But yeah, it's as Vince says, biblical here at the moment. So,
well, have you even sorted out your Easy Pod yet?
Yeah, it's moved on the patio, if that's what you mean.
No, I mean, is it set on your pond? Is it set on your pond working?
No, it is. Somebody came to me and tapped me on the shoulder at the show last weekend. Said, "Have you sorted that Easy Pod out yet?" I don't know who the guy was. I really don't. But I said it's a project, and
you really should, Rick.
And then we've got another guest on that I've been trying to get on for about the last 6 shows, and always blames that. Oh, I'm asleep. Oh, I'm too busy.
Mate, I'm always busy.
Kevin!
Mate.
I'm
And
always busy.
Yeah. And then we've got Mike at Koi Beginnings. Rich, which show you taking your koi to next year?
You know what? I don't know. It's quite embarrassing, really, because I don't think. Well, I personally think I've got some fish which are really good, and I know everybody thinks that. everyone thinks they got great fish, but I know some of the fish are really good.
And Kev, turn your camera all the way, and then you'll become a big picture then. If you've got your... There we go.
That's better. And I watched a couple of YouTube videos. One was Lee Hatfield about preparing fish for a show, how you do it, which I hadn't seen anyone do that before. Whether it's been done before, I don't know, but I've seen that one. And I thought, you know what, that's quite a good insight into what you need to do. And then I spoke to Kashi at the National, who, you know, I don't think it's unfair on saying he's just like a normal koi keeper like the rest of us. And he did quite well from it. It was his first show. And I thought, you know what, if we could all do that and we all take the fish that we think are our best, then what a great show we'd have. It doesn't have to be the national show, but it could be, I don't know, amateur koi keeper society show. I don't know. But, you know, to go back to Mike's question, you know, I know he mentioned he's actually replied to one of my videos. I'd love to give it a go, but I can't even catch my fish without them jumping out the ponds. You know, as soon as I put a net in the pond, they turn into dolphins.
And then Gazza's koi pond. Kev, how's it going, mate?
It's going good now, just.
Yeah, because we were on about earlier today, weren't we?
Yeah.
Oh, my Lord.
I've had a bad season, a real bad season.
Well, do you want to explain about your bad season, or do you not want to?
Well, no, I'm quite happy. Basically, come out of winter thinking everything was great, everything was looking perfect. I just changed the backy shower, but I knew that there was no real good bacteria that I was going to lose because it's going to be starting the season anyway. Then one ulcer appeared, then the next ulcer appeared. Then I was finding nose falling off a fish. Just really, really, really bad. And then they were just starting to go. Literally, I was losing 1, 2, 3 a day.
Oh, Christ.
Went through loads of water tests. Nothing was coming up. Oh, I was speaking to Mark at Country Koi. He couldn't get his head around it. We just couldn't figure out what just literally gone mental sort of overnight, because that's how it came in, literally overnight.
Yeah.
We have found the solution now, or the problem, and what it was, I've got an overhead power line running right across my pond. We had pigeons sitting on the power line, dropping into the water, and that's where the bacterial infection come from.
Oh, shit.
Literally.
Something to be said for a pergola roof, then.
The roof has just gone on.
That, Rich.
The roof has just gone on, literally. I've got the roof on now. I've bolted it in as much to the side, so I've got nothing coming in across the pond either, because that was obviously the issue. But what I don't get is why I didn't have the issue last year.
I haven't got a clue, but on a positive note, do you want me? Well, it's only a 3. Well, what I'll do is I'll play your new intro if you wanted, and then you can get away with selling your showers that you've come up market if you wanted me to show everyone your new intro that I've.
You can go for it. Yeah, you made it.
I'm just uploading it now because. Like you say, you're selling some new backy showers now, aren't you? In partnership with a koi dealer near me now, aren't you?
Yes, I am, alongside with Mark at Country Koi as well.
So hopefully we should be able to see his new intro. Hopefully, I can start doing a few videos, which then we might be able to see his intro.
You know what? I've had one pending for about 4 or 5 weeks now. It's there ready to fire it up, but then the roof went on, so I thought, oh, do I add that in? So and then just everything else, mate, and then work and everything else. And I just didn't. In the end, I thought, right, no, let's get on top of this first, and then fire it up again.
Right, well, here we go. This will be the first that you've ever seen his intro. I know everyone else is here, but I'll just play his intro and see what everyone else thinks of his intro.
Nice one.
And we come back and everyone's vanished.
Well done. I tell you what, mate, I love what you've done with it. It's looking really good, mate.
Yeah, that roof needed to go on, mate, because that was the problem. I'm not a keen lover of roofs over ponds.
No, I'm not personally, but needs must. You know, you found out what your problem is, and it's your only real way of combating it, isn't it?
Yeah, that was the only solution, because it was literally, I didn't pick up on it till the last minute, and I'd spoken to some doctor that I deal with. I'm not going to mention her name because she doesn't like to be mentioned. Who's obviously really good, sent some water tests in via Mark. And yeah, straight away came up with it. Immediately banged straight on it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's something.
Don't think about things like that. It's one of the reasons I wouldn't ever put like a water feature or waterfall back on my pond in this garden, because the amount of pigeons I get in my garden, it's crazy. If they had access to just stand or sit in the water, they will.
Yeah.
So
Didn't even figure onto it, because I've never had the problem before.
No.
And the problem's been there now 3 or 4 years.
You might have just got lucky for the last couple of years, and they've not sat directly above it.
Yeah,
and just
but
this year you got a bit.
I think they'd had a lot of young this year for some reason.
Yeah.
And they were literally just queued up on there.
Oh, look, there's this new area we should all go and just go.
Yeah, it was literally that.
And then my boy's Coy says, how much are the showers?
How much are the showers? Depending on the size, what you want, whether you want media, whether you don't want media, and all that lot. Your best person to speak to about obviously the prices at the moment is obviously Colby Coy at Sheffield himself.
There you go. Hopefully that answers your question. And
basically, what happened is Colby came up with these ideas of a one-piece filter, one-piece shower. So it's a one-piece system, so it isn't stacked. But it's got obviously separate grills all the way through it. So it's a 3-piece shower, but in a 1-piece system.
Oh.
They're really easy to clean out, and they're really easy to get through, actually. They're probably easier than unstacking one or unstacking a 3-tier, because you just got one system, so you can flush them straight out. And then obviously he came up with the idea of obviously having the open vents. One, obviously, to let air go through the media. And then 2, obviously a lot of people, as we all do with our showers, we're going in like our moths or whatever we're growing, mind your own business. Perfect slots for them, isn't it?
I was going to say, you can mind your own business, Kev. Well, yeah, hopefully that sort of gives you a broad. I know it's not an exact answer, but hopefully that's a broad enough.
Yeah, it does. It does all depend on the sizes, what media you want, but he does supply the media. He's just in the middle of building me a like a veg filter as such.
So you look at roughly, say, a standard size backy shower, so that's about 600 by 300 by 200, or like your normal standard size. If you're looking at a shower around that sort of size with the media in it, what sort of price would you say we're looking at? So just in case that's what he might put next.
So the 3-tier on a basic 600. I think he does them in a 600. I think he's making them in a 600, and 800, and 1200, if I remember correctly. with media, I think it was around about the 500-ish mark.
Hopefully that might give you a better answer, Danny. So I tried plugging him to try and get a rough sort of guide.
Don't forget, obviously, this is quite a new thing. He built it, I tested it, then we made some alterations to it. Then I think he tested it again. Then I've made some alterations to it since then. But now all the new ones that he's making is to what we've come up between us.
There we go.
Be interesting to see that.
Yeah.
But I mean, it runs lovely. You can push some real water through it as well. I mean, I can run it on a 20,000 pump, and I can push nearly 15,000 through it.
There you go. My 600, I'm pushing that. Take a little bit of pipe work out, about 9,200 through mine. And it is coping with it, but obviously as soon as you open lid and that, it's trying to obviously push out a bit, because obviously there ain't a lot of room for it to try and go, is there? But I suppose that's like with any backy shower.
Yeah. It is the same with all backy showers. I mean, he's come up with a really good design, and it's something different from what everyone else has made.
Yeah. So
You have to do a video on it, Kev.
You what?
You have to do a video on it, bud, so we can all see it.
Yeah, I am going to do one. As I say, there is one pending. Obviously, I've just been getting on top of all of this, but no, there is some videos to come out. Quite a few, actually.
Good.
God, it's like everyone's technical support. Do you need any more technical support, Kev?
Technical support, that's coming to you.
Well, can you help me with intro? And the next week you're going to say, I need help with, how do I get this video on? Oh, God, here we go. I'll help anybody out, mate.
Do you know what? I get lost with these softwares that everyone uses to upload videos.
Me
And
too.
half of them, they're a nightmare.
Yeah, me too. And when you say about your video pending about the backy shower, I got one with the EasyPod.
Yeah, but compared to Kev, he's had a lot going on, and yours has just been sat there. You've talked about it. You sort of look at it, and you just go.
It doesn't mean I
Yeah,
haven't got a
I'm
lot
not even
going
going to
on
ask
there.
about this EasyPod.
It's a good
Well, it's gonna be-
conversation piece.
It's going to be Dusty Bin now, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Very
Hasn't it
expensive
got the
bin.
look of a dusty bin?
So is there any questions?
Well, at least it's camouflaged.
Don't be giving him ideas, because next minute he'll just camouflage it to match what he needs it to match to, knowing Rich. But is there any questions you lot have got for one another? Or if anybody does have any questions, if you just pop them in the comments, and hopefully I'll be able to bring them up on the screen for anybody. So if you
Well,
got questions for one another,
there's a new auction thing tomorrow night, isn't there? With is it Danny from My Boys Koi and Vince?
Yeah.
Oh, I never heard of that one, so
Yeah.
that's new.
I think the bidding is from like £2.50, isn't it? The
Yeah,
bidding.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
give him a free plug, Dave. You might as well keep on going now. You're halfway there.
No, it's just something that I thought, it could be an interesting watch, particularly with the price range, because not a lot of us have. Well, I ain't got a lot of money. I'd love to have, but
Well, how about
Do you want to
everyone
finish
wants to make just three, like £1, £5, £10. Support me doing for a very, because there's a few more in there to do for a very good cause. I'm going to do a parachute jump in there. There's a brain tumor research. So
You're mental.
hopefully,
he's brave. Kev.
we'll get on board with it, and hopefully
Life insurance covers that.
Oh, I'll ask it background. Hopefully, life insurance covers that. Thanks for the positivity, darling.
It doesn't.
Ain't done.
No, I don't think it covers.
Well, it's all for a good cause, and hopefully, we could all raise a bit extra money. It's something different, and hopefully people can back me on it, because after this one, I do love my mum and that in heaven and that. I don't like to go bang on about it too much, but that would be the last thing I would do unless something even more crazy comes up. But I don't think I can come up with a crazy idea.
Well, you can count me in for a donation, but as for jumping out of aeroplanes, no, thank you.
Well, that's the
I thought you
reason
were
they
gonna say,
made
"Can't be
concrete
in a
for,
pot."
wasn't
Right,
it?
that's one. I've got one.
So just going back to Danny's channel tomorrow night, I don't know if everyone's seen his videos, but the fish he's got on My Boy's Koi, they're pretty special. Some of the fish that he's got, and they're affordable to most people. I'm not getting paid for this, by the way, and I've in any shape or form, but I watched his videos, and it's quite refreshing that there's some fish out there that quality fish that people can afford, and they're all Japanese. Yeah, there's a huge amount he's got. I think he's starting the bidding increments are £2.50, and the shipping is £30, which I think is pretty standard.
That's pretty standard across the board, isn't it?
But whether you've got one fish or 100 fish, it's £30. And he did say if it does take more than one box, he will actually pay for the additional boxes. So, when we talk about support, there's a guy there trying his best to do something for everyone else.
And then Will's Koi says, "Tell him a new bit. Don't know Dorset Koi with a load of laugh faces." And
I've commented on his channel enough.
Yeah,
So,
get on there and check him out, Will.
So if people, obviously, because you have been a little bit quiet of late with stuff,
Well,
if people
just the
don't
last
know
couple
about
of years.
Hey?
Just the last couple of years.
Yeah. If people don't know who you are and what your channel's about, do you want to tell people what you're going to do on your channel and what's... Obviously, we've got an insight of one or two videos pending, but what you're going to do with your channel.
Well, obviously, my channel's going to be pretty much the same as everyone else's, to be honest with you. We're just going to discuss our ponds and our fish, aren't we, really? Try and help each other out as much as we can. The only bonus I've got is I build ponds. So there is going to be a couple of ponds coming up that we're going to be doing lives on.
Good.
Hopefully, you might have just bring them and then bring videos to me. I might be able to just publish it on here quick. I'm only kidding, Kev. And then, like I say, I've got, Will Sky said, because I've got to keep moving my mouse. Will Sky said he'll definitely sponsor me, My Boy's Koi. I'll put a fish up for auction for you there if you jump out of a plane. Well, it might cost you more than one. Go, the Super Mango Stoke Koi Adventures. Great idea, Dave. I'll sponsor you. Thank you very much. And then Gav's got a question. Can the panel tell us a little bit of good advice for someone looking to pick up a perfect shower? I'll go to you first, Dave.
Well, I think you need to look at Ricky Stoddart's fish, Adam Beyer, and people like that, really.
Yeah, but I think
what
I mean is like for a newer person, say they've just gone into a koi shop, for example, I don't know, like my local koi dealer, you've just found a new koi dealer and you're looking to pick up a perfect shower or, a shower that looks perfect, given the guidelines, what would you look for and what would you say is a perfect shower?
Well, obviously you need to look at body shape, don't you? Make sure it's a perfect symmetry. I'll get it out in a minute. Obviously, pattern doesn't always come into it straight away, especially if it's toe side, because it's going to change and develop, isn't it? The one I got from Adam Beyer is still developing now. It's a lovely little fish, but other than that, what do the rest of you think?
Go on, Rich. I'll go across, down, and then back that way.
I think it's all down to personal preference, and that's how I always choose my fish. I actually bought 2 showers, probably May time, I think it was. from Supreme Koi, Mark Chatter at Supreme Koi. I went to buy one which was on his website, which was actually in the national brochure, I must add. And I went for that because it was just simply the kind of pattern I liked. It had a bit of white, it had some good red, and I'm not going to go into technicalities of sumi and all that kind of stuff because that's way above my head. But it had a great pattern. It was a good size. It wasn't massive. It was probably, I can't remember what size it was, to be honest, probably 30, 35 cm. And while I was there, on the opposite end of the scale, Mark had a greenhouse with over like a submerged pond, and he must have had, I don't know, a couple hundred Tozai shower in there. I didn't go to buy any others other than the one I went to buy for, and I pulled one out and I took a bit of gamble on it. It wasn't expensive by any means. I'm talking, I'll be honest, it was 40 quid. And I don't know what size it was again. It was on one of my videos. I did measure it up. I don't know, 15 or 20 cm. I'd just seen some potential with it. It had a body like a snake, you know. So if we talk about looking at body size and all that, this hadn't had it. It had a head.
I think though also
the body was very thin, but actually now, you know, a couple of months later, it has grown into a good sized bodied fish, but with still a lot of development to come from the colours. So
yeah.
I think it's all down to personal preference, and you can't actually look at it and say, yeah, I really like that because that's what it's going to be. I think that's what it's going to be.
I think at the end of the day, though, if you like that particular fish, then it's your choice, isn't it? You buy it.
Totally.
Because
Yeah, but I think what
It's a gamble.
before I do get to Jamie, I think what he's on about is like, you know, is it like skin pattern, you know, the fins, you know, that sort of thing. So I'll roll with you now, Jamie. What if you're to give a bit of advice on someone looking to pick up a perfect shower, even if it is like at a Tozai sort of size range?
Absolutely. Well, the big part of that question is, although it's a newbie, are they looking for a Tozai, or are they looking for, you know, have they got some money in their pocket and they want a finished fish? Because if they're, you know, going to a shop with $1,000 in their pocket and they want a, you know, a 3-year-old Sansai, then that information I'd be giving slightly different than if they were going in there for a 40 quid Tozai. But
we'll say on average, you know, like us, so probably about 100, maybe 120 quid sort of range. So then you sort of get a rough.
But the only advice I would give, because like the others have said, it really does come down to personal preference at the end of the day. If you like the fish, you like the fish. Doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. But the advice I would give to a newbie, I'd probably give slightly different advice to someone that is a bit more advanced. But to a newbie, go for body shape first. Look then for a decent kahaku pattern on your shower to start off with. Because if you're buying Tozai, as everyone else has said, sumi develops and changes throughout its life, whereas the kahaku pattern is going to be there, depending on the fish, normally going to be there for its whole life. So if you like the kahaku pattern to start off with, that's a good baseline then for a newbie to come in at, and the sumi can develop over time. Obviously, you've got to look for underlying sumi, and that's always handy if you know what you're looking for. But again, if it's a newbie, they're not always, you know, they don't always know what to look for in that kind of situation. So as a newbie, that would be the advice I'd give to a newbie. Start off with a decent body shape, a good size fish with a decent kahaku pattern, and then watch and learn what the sumi does, ready for your next purchase in a couple of years' time.
Go on, Kev.
I'm in agreement with Jamie on this one, but it's all about the sumi, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anytime. If you're going to buy a shower, it's all about what the Sumi's going to do.
And then obviously,
It's knowing what to do. That's the hardest part. And to a newbie, that's so hard to
It's
explain.
very hard to explain.
In a conversation, it is, yeah. I mean, it's like Ricky's videos when he's pointing it out and he's sort of saying, this is what this is going. When you're looking at the fish and you're pointing it out, it's a lot easier to say, oh, yeah, I can see what you're on about. But when you're just trying to explain it to someone just with words, without the fish in front of you, it's so difficult, which is why to a newbie, I would just say, go for body shape, kahaki pattern, and skin quality. Start off with and start learning yourself from there and watch what happens.
Yeah, 'cause I mean, also with a shower, is you can get one shower that obviously has got its normal patterning, or you've got another shower that you can see really clearly under the white, the shadowing coming through.
Yeah.
So if I picked young showers in the past, I've always gone and looked for the shading. And I purposely looked for a fish that's got plenty of dark shading under the white, knowing that that's going to come through and hopefully come through with the Sumi.
And that's what this 40-pound fish, you know, it didn't really have a great. What attracted me to it, the red was very red, but the actual black was very shaded, as you say. But you could see it was coming through, and it is really coming through now. Plus, it's gained some body. So, yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying.
I mean, I've got a prime example outside. I bought a shower. It's a gym ring shower. I was really, really attracted to it. The only downfall with this shower was the orange on the head was a small amount of orange. But it looks like on its rear end that there was orange going to develop. So I took a punt on this fish. Well, it's no longer a shower.
You're going to thank it now.
Good choice.
It's one of them. Sometimes it's a fine line between the shower and then a Sankey in it sometimes.
Yeah. But I thought it was going to go the other way, but mistaken I was. Literally, the orange just faded out and it just literally vanished.
I got a platinum Ogon that I bought over 12 months ago that's turned gold. It's massive. It's massive. It's a really nice fish, but it's not platinum.
Well, if I remember, is it? Okay, I can't remember now. But there is one term where it means a single coloured fish. So maybe just with
goldfish.
No. Anyway, does anybody know of a decent air pumps that run via battery or solar as a backup? Or are there any alarms that trigger a loss of power?
I know there's air pumps out there you can buy that are battery powered. I don't know about solar though. I'm sure there probably is.
You can. I'm trying to think of a company to make them now.
You can watch my Clearwater video when I went up to Clearwater the other week. That guy Matt has pumps about that big. He has them plugged in and uses them on a daily basis, but he has all them running in his shop because if there is ever a power cut, they've got a built-in battery backup and they last for about 8 to 10 hours.
That's the That's the ones I saw. Now, can you remember the name of them?
It begins with a H, I think, if that helps. But if you want one and are looking for one, Matt took a load with him down to the show at the National. But give Matt at Clearwater Koi a call, and he sells them there. But you'll probably find them online as well. But yeah, they have about 8 to 10 hour battery backup, and they're probably more powerful than the pump I've got on my pond at the minute. I think they're about 100 litres per hour.
Because the bit he put before that, but I want to put that up first. Is I had an issue in my grow on today where I turned the air off and forgot. I went back in just in time as the koi started to struggle, but they're okay now. But it's
back in.
But like you said, I'm sure there'll be some sort of apps out there or something you plug in to then where, you know, you might, if there's no voltage there, then it might, you know, something might happen. Or I don't know on that one.
I'm not sure on that one.
There's got
Right.
to be. I mean, Derby Coy's just managed to find a leak detector to put in his shed, hasn't he? That
Yeah.
picks phone if a leak's happening. So I'm pretty sure you could find one that tells you if something's turned off.
Well, if the telly don't work, then you know you've lost your power.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's one of them. Whereas if you're not sort of at home and no one's at home, I'm sure there will be a way of obviously finding out some way, or there'll be something out there. Surely, if you can detect a leak with like a little thing like Derby Coy's got, surely there's got to be something where if the voltage isn't there, something might be able to.
Well, it's slightly different to a power surge like indicator, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just work in the opposite direction.
But that's actually a good one, that from Jigsy there. It's like whenever he's got a power cut for or air pump or something, when I get a power cut, I spray the garden hose over the pond.
Yeah.
So at least you're sort of still trying to add a little bit of oxygen into your pond.
Yeah.
So that is, thank you, Jigsy. That's a good one there. And a question from Will, even though he's on now, is after all this rain in the northwest, will it affect water in the pond?
What do you
Exactly.
think, Bill?
One way to find that out, Will, and that's to test it, mate.
Yep, that's the only way.
The rain you've got in your area is probably different to the rain I've got in my area. It just depends what kind of pollutions and whatnot are in the air to what comes down with the rain.
Yeah.
Is
It
it wet?
can affect your pH, can't it? I think.
Yeah, if you've
But
got
all
acid,
rain,
it can affect your pH. But again, that acidic rain will only come down if the air around you is quite polluted. If
Can
you live
affect
in
your GH as well.
Yeah.
freaking hell.
That
But
that's
my
what
rain's different than your rain.
Well, it is, isn't it? It depends
all
on
depends
where you
on
live.
what's
If you live in
around.
the centre of London and the rain's coming down, well, there's all sorts of smog going into that rain. But if you're living down near the sea, then you've probably got more salt.
Clever you, aren't you?
There's a lot of different answers, Will. Like you said, it
I
all
know.
depends on what sort of area you're at. But this is what it's about. Everybody learns something off somebody else. And, I'm not as good as the Thursday Night Live, but I try my best with everybody. You know what I mean? I'm not as
You're a good lad, eh?
if it's that live, but I give it my best.
But if
I
you've
think-
got a pond that's 10,000 litres, let's say, and it pees down for a couple of hours, which it did on and off here, it really did hammer it down. I'd probably say my pond's filled up by, I don't know, 20 mil in depth, which is probably,
Yeah.
I don't know, 50 litres. I don't know. Is that really going to make a difference?
My fish are nearly in the friggin' house.
Hey?
My fish are nearly in the house. They're freaking non-stop all day.
Just imagine it.
They're there on
Will
the patio.
Bring him in. Put him in the bath.
I know both Vince and I had to go out the other day and let some water out of our ponds because of the heavy rain, and I've got a
Yeah.
roof on mine.
But
Yeah.
as
I'm
we
gonna
just
have
said
Two-inch
earlier,
overflow.
we
I'm
just
gonna
said
have to.
earlier in the conversation that people are happy to top up their ponds with a hose straight from the tap. Surely the water coming out of the sky is better than the water coming out of the tap.
No, because all rain's different. You get acid in some rain.
But it ain't got chlorine in it.
How do you know?
I don't know.
How do you know it hasn't got chlorine in it?
What, from the rain?
Yeah, how do you know?
I'll tell you what, Rich. I'll give you a free video here, and you can put it on your channel.
No, I haven't got the answers.
Is it DP4 tablets or DP? Yeah, it's got to be DP4, I believe.
Yeah, DP4.
And wait for it to dissolve and see if you've got chlorine in your rainwater.
Right, okay.
I've never tested it, but how do
No.
you know?
I have chlorine. I've tested the pH of rain, but I've never tested it.
do that.
You wouldn't think of it, would you?
No.
I'm going to test it. Wait.
It's always growing it, bless him. But it's where, like you say, it all depends on what area you live on, because I think Andy at Koi Pond Lifestyle, he did it with rainwater and it showed you the different results and what were close and what wasn't close.
It can make a big difference.
Oh,
Yeah.
gotcha.
It all depends on what's like you say, close around you, whether you're near an industrial estate or whether you're near this or near that. A lot of things depending on what sort of you've got in your area around you. But to be fair, if rain's going to go in your pond, rain's going to go in your pond. As long as you keep testing your water, you should.
And
be
if you're
all
doing
right.
water changes anyway, it shouldn't make a difference.
No, as long as you keep on top of your water testing and obviously making sure your pH is stable and your GH ain't too bad, you shouldn't do too bad. When you get a big pH crash or a KH crash, it's when you get stuff like that. That's when you start getting to a bit of the danger zone, I believe.
I'm amazed you
KH
chlorine
crash,
from
KH crash
rainwater.
can take you.
You what,
You know,
Kev?
before I come on
KH crash,
YouTube and that.
that can cause all sorts of issues.
Go on, Will.
Sorry, do you know before I literally had a hole in the ground. I didn't have a clue what pH, KH, freaking salt meters and all. I swear to God, you learn. That's what you learn so much from it, don't you? You know what I mean? That's what it's about.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
And now
But
I'm
then
like,
all of us were the same as you, Will, at one point in time.
yeah, I know, yeah. And now I'm freaking buying salt meters and freaking microscopes and everything. I'm like, freaking what the fuck?
Well, I got a salt meter up at the show, the BKKS, and I'm glad I did, because the ones you get, some of the cheaper ones, aren't that accurate. But the one I got is the Medic one, and that's really good. I mean, it was expensive. I paid 86 quid for it, I think, and they retail about 95.
Is that the one you're on about, Dave? That Jamie's just put in front of camera.
Yeah,
That's the one.
Yeah.
That's the one, Jamie. Yeah.
They are
Cracking
worth their
bit.
weight in gold.
Oh, yes. Like you say, they're not cheap, but they certainly work.
Yeah, they're more accurate as well.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Obviously, if you're a newbie starting off in this hobby, even one of the basic ones, it gives you a rough idea. They're
Yeah.
just not as accurate as how someone with more experience would want to be testing their waters.
No.
Well, it's one of the things that I would say. Well, we'll put it into the basic terms. What things would you recommend for a beginner that's just starting to get into the koi? What things would you recommend for them to sort of buy when they're just starting to get into the hobby?
Test kit.
Priority number one is a test kit.
Yeah.
And it's always the thing that's mistakenly not got, or not that they haven't been advised to get. Because I mean, a lot of these koi like shops or garden centres where a lot of beginners first go to buy their first koi are never advised to get a koi test kit.
Yeah.
Or
And
even
when
a basic medic
get-
kit.
Strips, don't they? They get little paper strips.
And then they're
Yeah.
not accurate. They're no
Yeah.
good.
They're as much use.
I had, that's what I had, Jamie, and I had one of them. You dip it in, and I thought, and I seen one of the videos, NT Labs. I swear by that now. NT
Yeah.
Labs. It's bees knees.
They're-
Look,
they're-
flashing down
they're
even
in-
more now.
So we're not biased. There is other test kits available on the market.
Oh,
Just
all right.
get it in there so I can't get done.
Yeah. I
I'm-
mean,
Columbo.
personally, I use the Columbo one, which I find very easy to read. But I've had the NT Labs ones and all sorts. As long as you got a good, decent one, I wouldn't advise the paper strip ones. I think they're worthless, really.
No, but it's all personal preference again, Dave. Because at the end of the day, I've got a full set of Hanometers out there. Have I ever used them? No.
But
No.
there's one thing that you both forgot is like Martin's Koi Pond and Garden. Another thing worth having is a microscope, even if it, like I've said it a few times before, doesn't have to be an expensive microscope or anything like that. As long as you can pick up the parasites and stuff like that. There's many videos on YouTube, and I've done a few on my lives, so you can see what different parasites look like and stuff like that.
Someone done a video on YouTube, didn't they, about a microscope, which was a basic one. Who was that? Was that Will?
It was Will, yeah.
I bought an £8 one.
And that, I tell you what, because I watched the video on that, Will, and to be honest with you, the results you were getting off of that was really good, weren't they?
Oh, nice one.
There we go. That's what I said.
I was made up with it. I was made up that I found something, but then I was gutted.
Yeah, it's clever piece of kit for something so basic, really.
Yeah, little kids one. But I went, well, do I need to get a big, massive £80 one? I don't, do I?
No.
If you can see what you need to see, that's the main problem.
If it's not broke, don't fix it.
But I'm going to have to get my armbands on in a minute and go out and empty some of this water because I'm not messing. It is absolutely hot. I can't. It is freaking lashing, and my pond is nearly overflowing. So, guys, I'm going to love you and leave you.
There, though. It's like
love you and leave you, Dave. Cheers, lad. I'll sponsor you. Don't worry.
There we go. That's another thing. That a lot of things is have it. Like mine's a sleeper pond. I've put in a bit of an overflow. So I've got a roof over my pond anyway, but just in case that does happen, I've got an overflow where the water can flow out rather than up and over top.
Yeah, I mean, I always fit overflows anyway, but I mean, only because I'm a firm believer of trickle in, trickle out. Obviously, I don't need it for so much rainwater now because I've had to go through the roof idea.
Yeah, but you're on about what new koi keepers should really have. Yeah, good test kit, microscope definitely, and a good book to identify what they're looking at when they look through their microscope, because they probably won't know what a fluke looks like.
And also going down to like a basic medical kit, as I said.
There we go. It's just come up there as what.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
It's coming up with all these, and as soon as you do it, boom, it's already there.
I mean, you can buy them if you're told by a koi shop or garden centres that have that slight bit of knowledge. Why aren't they selling these people that go in there and say, "I'm new to the hobby. I've just set up a pond. I want to buy this, this, and this." Why aren't they clever enough to say, right, well, you're going to need a basic test kit, a basic med kit,
something else you forgot as well.
Doing themselves business as well, because if someone goes in to buy a fish and they turn around and say, "Oh, well, you also need this, 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 and this," that's extra sale they've lost out on.
Yeah.
But the trouble is, I think also a lot of the garden centre staff aren't fully in tune with what the needs of a koi keeper really do need.
But
I know.
Like we've got on here, a decent, good friend or a group of individuals who you can turn to for advice. Like us lot on YouTube, if somebody wanted to, could come to one of us to help or advise, and we could try and help them and advise them.
Yeah,
exactly.
And also something we've all forgot about: a good net is a must as well, because how are you meant to scrape your fish if you haven't got a net?
Yeah, there's loads you could go on about, isn't there?
A pan net and a sock net, depending on the size of your fish.
Yeah, but for somebody that's coming in, just a reasonable net where you can catch your fish to start off with, because we all start somewhere, and then we develop and get more into the hobby, and then it just starts building and building and building to where then you get a pan net, sock net, and you end up getting a blue ball, measuring ball. The list just goes on and on and on.
Oh yeah,
and also,
it can get really expensive in the long run.
I mean, the thing is, you could go to a fishing tackle shop and buy a decent quality landing net for start off. That's not going to cost you a massive amount.
Yeah, and like I've just said there, a copy of the Koi Bible, and they ain't actually that expensive. I think they were about £10 last time guys had a look. And then because it's Daz from Daz's Koi Farm and the trifle, but I think that's just Daz in it. He loves his trifles.
You mean that one?
That one is the one. Yes, that's the. If people didn't know and you haven't watched Thursday Night Live, then go and check out Daz's Koi Pond. That's in the comments. Go and check.
That is a real good book.
Another good one to have is that one.
Step by Step Advanced Koi Diagnostics and Treatments by Duncan Griffiths.
That's the one, yeah. That's
seen that
really
one
good.
before.
That goes into, you know, treatments, treating koi and everything. It's a bloody good book, though.
Good evening, gents. One of the things I would say to somebody thinking of taking the hobby up is do your research. Research and research. And
Exactly.
one place to do that, of course, is YouTube. Now, when I started my first pond up 32 odd years ago, there was no internet. There was the books, you could get koi books, and there was a koi magazine. So to actually subscribe to a koi magazine back then was a really good thing to do. But YouTube is certainly a great thing for beginners if they do that. And as I say, do your research even before you build the pond would be a good idea to do that, because you've got a good idea on what size pond you need to build, minimum sort of water quantity, minimum depths, equipment you may need to filter and run that pond, from simple filters to more expensive filters and so on. So I think a beginner would be good to do as much research at the very beginning, but as often as not, they buy their first koi from a garden centre and put it in a puddle.
Yeah.
Well, it's one of them. It's like I did quite a bit of research before I built my pond. What sort of depths were the average? So everyone's got their own advice on what sort of levels, you know. But I suppose it's each to their own. But I think it was about 4 to 5 foot and whatever sort of size you wanted for mine. I thought, well, a decent size. Going to see what size you've got in your garden. And you just take it all from there. And the more videos you watch, you could take your own bit from whoever you start watching.
Yeah.
Yep.
Talk to anybody on YouTube that's been running their ponds for a while. They'll give you good advice, or a decent koi dealer will tell you. And like you said, Tony, research.
Well, if you want to avoid what I went through on my very first pond, you need to do that research, because my very first pond, my wife wanted a goldfish puddle, and I built something a little bit bigger than a goldfish puddle. It was just a little shy of 200 gallons, not 2,000 gallons at the time. And anyway, I stocked it with goldfish, didn't know what I was doing, and they started getting ill. And one would die, and then another would die, and so on. Didn't even know what new pond syndrome was. And so I had to find somebody local that knew a bit about keeping fish. And the guy came along, had a look at it, and when he had a look at them, he said, well, they're done for, and he euthanized the lot. And that was it. And he said, what do you want goldfish in here for? This pond's big enough for a koi. I'll bring you one tomorrow. So unbeknown to me, he dosed that pond up with something that was purple. Didn't know what it was at the time. Of course, he PP'd it. And the following day, he brought this koi along, which was sort of 10 times bigger than any goldfish I had in there. And he said, that'll be all right. Just take it slowly. And he said, in a couple of weeks' time, I'll bring you another one. And that's what got me started. But, you know, there was nobody much to turn to back then.
But if there's nobody if not, you know, there's people out there like Kev that, you know, that's their job, where they do pond builds and they do this. If you reach out to people like them, then, you know, they might be able to help dig the pond or give decent advice to advise you where to go, what to do, if you what sort of pond you're wanting to build, sleeper pond, in-ground pond, fiberglass pond, you name it. I'm sure people like Kev are out there to help you out.
Absolutely.
Well, there's Carl at CWD who builds ponds as well, isn't there? Anybody like Kev, Carl, plenty out there that actually build ponds. Tim Waddington does as well, doesn't he? I think he's into that a bit.
Yeah. Well, there you go. A bit of a plug for you there as well, Kev. You know, you've had a great night tonight, haven't you? Backy showers, your business, your channel, your new intro. What more can you ask for? You need to come on more often.
Well, I just got to stop falling asleep more often.
But yeah, I think that'll be it for this show. We've gone on for an hour and 31, so we haven't done too bad. So, like I say, if you all drop it in the comments after this live, whether you think it's a good idea to do the parachute jump and come, you know, ways of helping me fund to get to it. You know, I'll set everything up. I've just got to get another few things in place. And then I'll let you all fill you all in with the rest of the detail when I get to know more, because I think I've just started to getting into contact with a company that might be able to help. So on that note, guys, you all take care, keep calm, keep coy, and I'll catch you all in 2 weeks for another show.
Good stuff.